By the way, NRO, National Reconnaissance, they run all the super secret birds, spy satellites. Amazing stuff that they have. And if you go to their headquarters, it says over the door, "We own the night." And I turned to some people on my team, I said, well, we need to own the light. They can have the darkness, we'll have the light. But that's their motto, we own the night. And you can see anywhere, anytime, through cloud, down to anything you're reading. And you can be talking to a friend on the top of Mount Everest or anywhere else, they'll hear every word you're saying if they want to know it. That is true. Ben Rich said this, there are no private conversations anywhere on Earth, number one. So forget Snowden stuff with, PRISM. I mean, that's like level 1 intel gathering, NSA. It is. It's like, it's not even, because the president knew about it. And so the Senate, if they knew about it, it's like 40-year-old technology. It's true. Absolutely true. Because the real action's in the unacknowledged special access projects. And so when Ben Rich said we can take ET home, as you saw in the movie series, he meant it. So we had mastered gravity-controlled trans-dimensional systems. Now there's all kinds of conspiracy things. We're not actually allowed to go out there because there's sort of a containment zone around Earth until the rampaging primates make peace. That would be us. And quit clubbing each other over the head over stupidity like ideologies and this ism and that, whatever. We're not allowed to go too far out there. And there is a containment policy. It was lifted for the moon, because we do have facilities there, but no further. I only have a couple hours, so I can't get into all the details of this. I'm trying to give you the big picture. Now, that means, of course, anyone doing this, what I'm going to go through in a moment, is going to be running into the buzzsaw. Anybody read the book Into the Buzzsaw, the foreword by Gore Vidal, about people who tried, journalists who tried to blow the cover off huge stories like this, going through the buzzsaw and being chewed up. Some were killed, some died, some had suicides, some got sick, some fired, whatever. But it's an interesting mainstream media book, actually. And you're going to have to contend with the fact, and this was why I brought all these folks to Washington, and I had them meet with senior people on my team who have been in these unacknowledged special access projects and been with me at briefings. I introduced, there's an astronaut named Edgar Mitchell. I introduced him to all this. I brought him to the Pentagon to brief Admiral Tom Wilson, who is the head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So back in the late 90s, 97. So that is all a process that they needed to know before they stepped into this. Now, I wasn't trying to scare them off, although I may have a bit, because it caused a few-year delay. But I wanted them, in medicine we call it informed consent. And I wasn't going to lie when they asked me what kind of security risks would there be to us doing this. I said, well, first of all, the people keeping the secret transnational. They have representations, covert, deep cover in your country. They have technologies like you cannot believe. And they have reconnaissance over France that will know everything you're doing in real time. So nothing will really be done secretly. So that you factor into bake that into the cake from the get-go. And they went, oh, mon Dieu, And I said, yeah, okay, so it doesn't mean we can't do it, but be aware. So it became this cat and mouse thing to set this event up, that apparently there was a woman here who was there, and some other people I know. They had to set up a security perimeter, a radar perimeter, divert air traffic, everything for this event. These 3 nights in the Brittany on a 2,200-acre estate that had been part of a family who ironically helped organize the French Revolution, like my mom's family did in America, but who also specifically organized the beheading of Marie Antoinette. Some very interesting vibes at this estate. Anyway, but welcome to my world, a little strange. But anyway, it was beautiful because the events that happened were just magnificent, even though, it was not known by, there were 60 people there were only a dozen or so that knew why we were there. But it was an introduction to them of how to go into the samadhi state, remote view interstellar civilizations, create a coherent thought sequence that results in contact being linked into their electronic systems, ET electronic systems that interface with coherent thought, how to comport oneself when events are taking place, etc., and so on and so forth, as well as what to monitor. And moreover, what the philosophical underpinnings are that lead to successful contact. It cannot be an us versus them military approach, because that leads to nothing but a disaster. And in fact, the last 60 years prove it. Eisenhower did actually meet with ETs at Muroc, M-U-R-O-C, near Edwards, what's now Edwards Air Force Base. I believe it was 54 or 56. I have to look at my documents. And I actually got a letter from someone who was there with Eisenhower at the meeting that was sent to me by the French intelligence. They had it. It was very interesting. I wish a lot of this had made its way into the movie, serious. We're going to do a follow-on documentary if we find the filmmaker who wants to do it. Anybody know a good one? Come to Charlottesville, Virginia, near the University of Virginia. We'll do it within 6 months. So that is, that was something that when they realized that there were all these issues around making contact, but that it could be done if you had the right philosophical perspective, because the ETs are not unwilling to make contact. They're not unwilling to make contact with buffoons or militarists or people who have an antiquated pre-diluvian worldview that anything we don't understand, we have to shoot and kill and knock down out of the sky.